There are some neighborhoods that just get it right. You know, you see car people that live amongst other people like they're not car people, and they're always like the odd man out. Bobby Lotus, as we call him, lives in a neighborhood where he's friends with the next door neighbor and the next door neighbor and the next door neighbor. And if somebody's missing a 10mm socket, he can borrow one from any one of those houses because everybody's got toolboxes and their own automotive interests, and they're all best friends. So, what a cool deal. How did this work out?
Well, as far as both of my neighbors go, I've known one of them for most of my life, and then that led to the next one that led to the next one. A lot of people start up skateboarding, my age, you know, skateboarding, riding BMX, and eventually it comes to like mini bikes, which I have a problem with, and then it gets to dirt bikes or full-size motorcycles, and then it comes to cars. So that's how I met Connor. Connor's the last guy you'll see today, but...
So, we're right here. Let's talk about this. So what the heck is this doing here?
So I bought this last night. This is a 1975 Dodge D100. I have a 96 Toyota that I drive all the time. That's my daily, but I wanted something a little bit older to haul my mini bikes and motorcycles with.
And so how did you find it?
Marketplace. I wanted a Ram Charger for a while, but I couldn't really find a Ram Charger that was close enough, not rusty enough, and within my budget. But this was, and as soon as I saw the first picture of the yellow truck, it was original paint, had to have it.
So nothing in my mind could be more contrasting than have this truck here and have that car there.
So this car is one of the first few models of Lotus production cars outside of like their race equipment. This is a 1967 Lotus Europa S1A. It's one of the first 500 cars produced. You could make a few noticeable distinctions between this and the later model cars, being that it has one-piece glued-in plexiglass windows here. It also doesn't have front indicator lights, which you would normally see down here on all the other models. It also
so this wouldn't have worked well with toll booths in the United States.
Toll booths, going to get fast food now,
That's
very
true.
inconvenient.
I bet, because these windows don't go up or down. These are fixed. This was based off, what was it, an R26 or something like that, the race car version of this?
It's Type 47, I believe, is what it's called.
Okay, Type 47, that's it, yes.
I've had this since I was 12 years old. My dad has been a British car mechanic since he was 14, and he's now retired in his 60s. But we bought this when I was 12 out of a field outside of Columbia, South Carolina. It hadn't been on the road since, I believe, 1988 or 89, and it didn't look anything like this, I can tell you that. I had a good friend named Dennis do all the body work while I helped doing what I could because I'm not a fiberglass man. My father rebuilt the drivetrain, and then we all worked together on the brakes and suspension.
These came with two different drivetrains, right?
So the early model cars like this one here have actually Renault engine and gearbox from just a boring four-door sedan, but later models, after they took off in popularity, it wasn't just to sell cars, actually had the Lotus Ford twin cam engine with dual Weber carburetors.
Can we see it?
Sure.
So this is just a push rod 4-cylinder motor.
Yes, sir, it is. Normally it would have had a single barrel Solex carburetor with a Banjo air filter, but finding the parts for the original French motor are very difficult, so it has a Weber downdraft carburetor that I put on just for ease of driving.
So what happened down here?
Actually, funny story. So my father and I were working on it, and we were replacing the battery. For a long time, we thought it had a drain issue with something electrical keeping, draining the battery if I wasn't driving it once a week. Turns out that wasn't the case. The battery was bad, but when replacing it, he had it set on a towel right here, stepped back, fumbled, bounced off the ground, and punched a hole in the fiberglass after we had it painted. Just afterwards, so yeah, hate to see it.
That looks like Wimbledon white.
Correct.
Like Ford.
Because Lotus and Ford shared a lot of commonalities. I think Lotus calls it Cirrus white, but it's pretty much the exact same color.
Cool.
Fire it up real quick. Might need some of the gum out if she doesn't start immediately.
Makes good noise. And it probably handles like stink.
Yeah.
Okay, so that truck and this Europa.
I also have another, well, no, I guess we're representing one continent with Europe, representing another continent with Asia, representing another continent with North America, and then in my mom's garage across the way, I actually have a 66 Volkswagen if you'd like to take a look at that.
I'd love to, yeah. Ah, Lowrider.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. So my friend Sam in Tennessee narrowed the beam, took the beam out, took 6 inches out of the middle, put it back in the car, and then we have flipped the springs in the back. Other than that, the car is all stock. It's all original body panels, all red, every single thing. Even though it has been hit and you can kind of see it, Back in the day, they actually beat it back out instead of replacing the panels or repainting it.
So that's a South Carolina car. So 66.
Yes, sir.
So it's a 40 horse?
It should actually be, I'm not sure, I think so. It's not the 1300 anymore. I think it's a 1500 single port, but it was the motor that came in the car when I got it. I pulled the motor, we did all the rubber seals, rebuilt the carburetor, didn't replace the clutch, changed all the engine tin. It's upgraded to 12 volt, but other than that, like, I haven't messed with it very much.
So he narrowed the front beam.
Yes, sir.
Did you put spindles on, different spindles on there?
The spindles are actually flipped as well.
Okay.
The drop spindles in the front.
And do you have disc brakes or still drum?
Still drums, except for the suspension and the motor. Like, it's all stock, drum brakes. Most of the interior, like the seat covers are original.
So do you remember what you paid for this?
When I bought it when I was in college, I want to say it was like 3,500 bucks.
Oh, it wasn't cheap.
It was not cheap, but it was running and driving when I bought it.
Okay.
Tagged and insured, and just switched it over to my name.
Well, this is cool. So, would you guide us over to your neighbors?
All right, let me close this back up real quick.
So I'm leaving Bobby's house, and I'm going to Dallas's house, which is 50 feet away. Dallas, thanks for getting home from work early.
Yep, thanks for having us.
So this is cool stuff. And actually, when I drove down this street, yours is the one I noticed the most. I dig it. Let's start with this. What's the deal? Is that a daily driver kind of car?
Yeah, this is my daily. When I was in high school, I had a '74 Super Beetle that I drove, and I always just wanted an early car because Connor, I met him in high school. He was driving a '65, so it was always just the style I liked better. And he actually hooked me up with a guy in Tennessee with this one, and we went, and me, him, and my dad drove to Tennessee December 7th back in 2018 actually, and picked this up. And it wasn't nothing but the shell, and it was a roller, didn't have an engine, had a transmission, floorboards were rusted out, and me and my dad did all the work to it, got it back on the road, and since then I've been daily driving it.
So it's a 1200 cc?
No, it's actually, I put a 1600 cc in it.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
And drive it just about every day.
Man.
On cold days, it starts better than that diesel, so.
All right, so talk about that diesel. I mean, you got one VW and 3 Land Rovers.
Yeah, I actually have four Land Rovers. One of them's at my dad's house, but.
So what is that your passion?
Yeah, since I was in high school, I've been looking for a Land Rover just because I don't know what it is about them, but they just got a look to them that I'm a sucker for, so.
So these two have the headlights on the fenders, and that one's got the headlights in the middle.
Yep, and
so that's the earlier one?
Yep. And the other one I got is an earlier one as well.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is an aluminum body, isn't it?
Yep.
Over a steel shell.
Uh-huh.
So this can look good, and the inside can be rotting away?
Yep, the bulkhead. So this part right here could be rusted, and then the frame obviously could be rusted, which is the problem with that 69 right there on the right. And the other one, it's just a parts car, but.
So where did you find this one?
This one was in Virginia, up towards almost DC. It was about 40 minutes from Washington, DC. And I saw it, Bobby actually sent it to me on Marketplace, and I told Connor, because he was the only one available to help me right up there and go get it, and we drove up there, looked at it, and drove it back home.
So you drove this home?
Yeah, it was about a 6-hour drive. This made it about a 10-hour drive. Going about
because
55.
It's geared so low?
Yep. Wow. It'll go about 55 max. But
so that's a diesel, you said?
Yep, 2.25 liter diesel and a 4-speed transmission, which I actually installed a Roamer drive, overdrive right there, so it lengthens each gear. So
what year is this one?
84.
Is it the newest one you have?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that's a daily driver as well?
Yep. If it's warm like today, I drive this.
All right, so this is
a 69.
69, okay.
This is the first one I bought. I found this one on Marketplace from a guy in Polkton, North Carolina, and I hit him up, and he said I was the first one to message him. So we went and looked at it, and me and my dad got it. And then a couple days later, the guy messaged me again because he had another one, the other one I bought, and it had the transmission I needed, so went and bought it as well.
Oh, that's cool. This is the one with the bad bulkhead?
Yep. Well, the bulkhead isn't terrible. It's the frame that's a little crusty on it.
And it's a ladder frame. You can take the body right off it?
Yeah. But I don't know if that chassis is even worth saving at this point. It's pretty rough. But
can you buy new ones? Mm-hmm. I know with Toyota Land Cruisers, you can buy, like, I think, galvanized chassis.
Yep. Yeah, you can with these too.
Oh, wow. What does a chassis go for?
Anywhere from about 3 to 6 grand.
And then this is the oldest one you have.
Yep, it's a 59.
So I guess they did this for safety reasons.
Yeah.
If you look at the headlights here, these are inside the fenders, and then these are in the fenders. So, you know, if you were at a stop sign and you couldn't really see these headlights, it would not be a very safe vehicle to drive at night. Although it looks cool as heck.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think. You know, this is what you see in old National Geographic magazines driving across Africa.
Yeah.
So this is what year?
A 59. First time I've ever seen one, I was watching Stand By Me,
Yeah.
the movie with the 4 kids, and at the very beginning, the main character, when he's an adult, he was driving one, the 4-door version, and I didn't know what it was, and I looked it up. I was like, yeah, that's what I want.
So is the Land Rover like your ultimate car? Is that your Ferrari?
Yeah. So back when I was in high school, I would look for them. I'd be on the school's computer looking on Craigslist at the time before they screwed it up, and I would just get on during class and look for them, but they were always too expensive. I was like, I'm never gonna be able to get one, and so I got into Toyota Land Cruisers because I figured that was a good supplement.
Yeah.
But next thing I know, I own 4. So I mean,
And no more Toyota Land Cruisers?
if I find one for a good deal, I'll get it.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, they're cool, but
Well, all right, so who are we going to visit next? How you doing, Connor?
Hey Tom, how are you?
We're visiting everybody in the neighborhood today.
Nice, glad to see you coming by.
So you're obviously an air-cooled guy.
I am. I'm a air-cooled Type 2 guy. Split window buses, bay window buses. I do like the Beetles too. I had a couple Beetles, but something about the split window buses, whether they're trucks or the buses, I love them. So,
What was your first one?
my first bus, that I actually drove was a 1970 Riviera camper. It was not the Westie, but the Riviera. It had a little smaller pop top. That's actually the bus that my parents and my brother and I traveled the country in when we were kids.
So you're organically a bus guy, huh?
I was born into it. I did not have a choice. So my dad, growing up, he ran a restoration shop, and just has always been a part of my life and my brother's life as well. We've just grew up going to car shows and swap meets, and since we were little babies in Volkswagens, my parents never had a new car. They only had old air-cooled buses.
Where'd you grow up?
10 houses down.
In Gibson Village?
Yes, sir.
Ah,
Yep.
no kidding.
Yeah, we've been in Gibson Village our whole life, and
I mean, I saw this driving around, and I said, this is just too cool. In fact, just to let you know, these guys are drinking coffee. Well, it was 3 of you guys and a girl. We're sitting in the back having like a little party in here last Saturday. It was so cool.
So this thing it's purpose built for hanging out, traveling, camping. It is actually the only car I have that runs. This has been my daily driver for the last 2 years due to the circumstances. This has been my daily driver
So
for a
what
while.
year is this?
This is a 66.
When did they build the split window up until?
So the split window was the pre-production, 49s to 67.
67.
Yep. 67 was last year, the split windshield.
So split windshield, these were flat panes of glass, and that would be the easier way to make a windshield. After 67, 68, they would have had a curved windshield, compound curves, with no split in the middle. And so that's kind of the dividing line for bus people. So truck. Let's look at this one. So I guess from the license plate, it's 63.
63, yep.
And how did you find this?
This actually was online. My buddy Grayson, I sent it to him and was like, dude, that's a good deal on this truck. It was painted all flat black with flames on it.
And you stripped the black off?
I did, yes. My buddy Womack and I, New Year's Day last year, we hung out at his place, at his shop, and got acetone and some citrus stripper, and we just went to town on it for 2 days straight pretty much. And
That's
got what you see here. You can see there's still some black on it that needs to be stripped, and in the door jambs there's still some black that needs to be stripped. But
geez, you never would have known it.
it was a labor of love for sure. Stripping a bus is hard thing to do.
Yep. Wow. Good job. Well, listen, man. Thanks for inviting us over here.
Of course, man.
It's been a pleasure.
You guys are welcome here anytime, and if you'd like to go for a cruise, just let me know in the bus.
Really now?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Come on. I actually do metal work on these Type 2 buses.
Oh, that's right. You work at that shop.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to stop by that shop sometime.
Of course, man. If you got time, I'll swing you by today. you want.
Oh, I'd love to. It's been so many years.
I'm
I drove
sure.
my double cab.
Take her for a spin. It's not often I'm in the passenger seat of this car. I'm trusting Tom with my baby here. I've had plenty of my friends let me drive their buses before mine was on the road, so it's the least I can do to let someone else drive mine.
There's a long cable. The accelerator cable goes all the way back to a carburetor that's way back there. So, a friend of mine had, actually he's my brother-in-law now, he had one of these when I was in high school, a bus. I had no windows, there was a van.
Yeah.
And I borrowed it for lunch. You know, when you were in high school, then you could go out to lunch. And I borrowed it for lunch. I'm about, I don't know, 10 miles from school, and I had a straight in back. And I ran out of gas and coasted across the highway median, the green median, and into a Shell station. And I had 15 cents. Now, gas was like 35 cents a gallon. Okay. So I got 15 cents worth of gas and made it back to school.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is bringing back old. This is cool. You know, a lot of longtime car people, collectors, restorers like me, are worried about where this hobby's going with a generation of people that seem to be more interested in digital hobbies than mechanical ones. But you know what? I think it's in good hands. I mean, we just met 3 of the 4 people that own these homes, and they are so into these cars. You know, one into like a Lotus and a VW, another into Land Rover. So you got British, German, British Land Rovers, German water-cooled, German air-cooled. You know what? They know their stuff, and they study it, and they use these cars. Daily driver, that slammed split window there, what a cool deal. If there are more people like this, we have nothing to worry about. Our hobby's going well because they're gonna, you know, step up from this maybe to, who knows, Porsches one day, and they'll wind up taking over the cars that we've been restoring and maintaining all our adult lives. I'm pretty happy. Happy hunting.